The Sea of Monsters is often overlooked. It's normally considered the forgettable one. Quite simply, just an Odyssey retelling. But I want to dive in and reveal it's possibly the most important, if not the most consequential book in the series. In The Sea of Monsters, Rick Riordan plants one of the most consequential ideas in the entire Percy Jackson series, the Fatal Flaw. The book introduces the idea that every hero has a weakness tied to their deepest desires, a flaw that can destroy them if it's left unchecked. This concept becomes the backbone of the series, shaping character arcs, conflicts, and even the fate of Olympus itself. By introducing this idea, Rick Riordan transformed the Sea of Monsters into a turning point. The series is no longer just about battling monsters and retrieving magical artifacts, it's about battling yourself. In A Lightning Thief, the lives of demigods are often defined by clear alliances based on parent lineage. Loyalty to the Greek gods dedicated actions, and demigods often found themselves clashing with fellow campers, whose godly parents were fighting. Monsters were also straightforward adversaries, each encounter a battle for survival as they relentlessly pursued Percy and his friends. But in The Sea of Monsters, this perspective dramatically shifts. Here, the line between friend and foe becomes blurred, challenging the black and white morality. We're introduced to Tyson, Percy's Cyclops half-brother, who defies the monster stereotype with his gentle nature and loyalty. This concept that monsters can be good not only challenges both Annabeth's prejudices and those of the reader, but it also makes a true turning point for the series. For the Percy Jackson Disney Plus viewers, while Medusa hints at this idea, Tyson is the pivotal example that monsters are more than meets the eye. Turning back to the demigods, the Sea of Monsters marks a major shift in their relationship with the gods. While their actions were previously guided by loyalty to the gods, this book reveals a growing tendency among some of the demigods to pursue their own agendas, making things pretty personal. Although Luke initially planted the seeds of dissent in The Lightning Thief, it's in The Sea of Monsters where these ideas truly flourish. Annabeth's reflection on her fatal flaw, hubris, the belief that she can do things better than the gods, perfectly illustrates this change. She admits that she sometimes thinks about rebuilding the world, fixing its flaws in ways the gods haven't. This moment also reveals the dangerous temptation of Luke's ideology. Percy himself realizes this when he wonders if Luke's ways can tempt Annabeth, then how many other demigods might follow? We start seeing more demigods aligned with Luke's cause, believing that the gods no longer deserve their devotion. Chris Rodriguez is just one of the many campers who choose to side with Luke. What once used to be about fighting monsters and defending your fellow demigods has now flipped. You now must defend your monsters and fight your fellow demigods. You can't be quite sure who's your friend or foe. And The Sea of Monsters double downs on this concept when we go to Circe's island. Percy and Annabeth fall into the trap of Circe, which ultimately results in releasing the Blackbeard pirates. Thus brings me to the next point, the adventure of Silena and Hylla. The ramifications of Percy and Annabeth's actions in The Sea of Monsters left Circe's island in chaos. Freeing the Blackbeard pirates launched a wave of events that followed. Silena and her sister Hylla escaped the Blackbeard pirates and went their separate ways. Silena found herself at Camp Jupiter, where she rose the ranks and became a praetor. She helped deliver the Athena Parthenon across the world with Nico D'Angelo, also later assisting the god Apollo. And then there's Hylla. Due to Hylla becoming the queen of the Amazons, Hazel was able to obtain the speedster horse Orion. She also rides to the aid of Camp Jupiter, as if she was Gandalf riding into Helm's Deep. Their legacies may have taken different paths, but both were set in motion by a single moment on Circe's island. One of many that proved demigods weren't just heroes, but pawns in a larger unseen war. And they weren't the only ones. The Sea of Monsters is the book that introduces not only Silena Beauregard, but also Charles Beckendorf. Silena represents the first of Aphrodite's twisted love stories, but more importantly, these two are some of the most pivotal characters in the final book, from Charles' sacrifice to Selena's betrayal and redemption. The Sea of Monsters doesn't just introduce new faces, it introduces forces that have been operating in the shadows all along. When Percy, Annabeth, and Tyson boarded the Princess Andromeda, they don't just run into Luke, but something much bigger is revealed, and we didn't even know it. Luke mentions rich and powerful sponsors. At first, it's just a passing detail, but later those sponsors are revealed as triumvirate holdings. We know them better as the three emperors, Commodus, Caligula, and Nero. The Princess Andromeda isn't just transportation, but it's the first major sign of the hidden forces controlling everything behind the scenes. And it doesn't stop there. The impact of the Sea of Monsters doesn't fully unfold until the trials of Apollo, where Triumvirate Holdings steps out of the shadows. The Sea of Monsters isn't just a side adventure, it's the foundation for a bigger story. And being a foundation for a bigger story, this leads me to my last 2 points: the return of Thalia Grace and The Prophecy. The overarching conflict of Percy Jackson and Olympians isn't just the return of the Titans. It's the fact that the fate of the gods rests in the hands of a mere demigod. The Great Prophecy is the driving force behind the series. A 60-year-old demigod from one of the big three will decide the fate of Olympus, whether it's its savior or its destroyer. From the start, Percy's importance in the world is undeniable, but everything shifts when the final bombshell drops: Thalia's return. Suddenly, Percy isn't the only one. Her revival reshapes everything. It throws the big three's oath into question and complicates the prophecy, raising a really big question: who is truly meant to fulfill the prophecy? And things get even more wild when you think about who appears in the next 2 books. But Thalia's introduction into the series as a recurring character essentially allows Artemis and her hunters into the story, at least a lot more frequently, appearing and disappearing throughout the entire Percy Jackson series when you really need them most. Essentially, Thalia and the Huntresses have came in very clutch for Percy, Jason, and Apollo on multiple different quests.